Welcome to the Sales Enablers Academy podcast. Here we talk about excellence in sales, marketing, aftermarket, leadership, and teamwork. Today we are going to talk about an importance of leadership and teamwork for success in B2B sales. To enlighten us, we have with us Mr. Ramakrishnan. He is a mechanical engineer of 1978. He is an L&T veteran who, after 39 years stint in various roles in construction and mining machinery businesses, L&T John Deere, L&T Infotech, L&T Hazira, retired in July 2017. Post-retirement, from January 2019, Mr. Ramakrishnan has been working with A M Naik, former chairman and now chairman emeritus of Larsen and Toubro Limited, as Chief Executive, Skill Development Mission, L&T. He was also initially heading the team to assist Mr. A M Naik in his role as chairman of the National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC. In that tenure, he was an advisor to NSDC and a nominee director of NSDC in the construction, paints and coatings, rubber and petrochemicals, and as a domestic worker sector skill council. Currently, he oversees the operations of L&T Skill Trainers Academy in Mumbai. He is also a trustee in L&T Public Charitable Trust, a member of the governing council of the Anil Naik Technical Training Center, Kharel, and a member of the managing committee of the A M Naik School, Powai, Mumbai. He was also the chairman of the FICCI Skill Development Committee in 2023. In spite of all this, he is also my role model as an ideal leader, and he continues to inspire me and many others for his leadership and team building capabilities. So welcome, sir, once again to the
Thank
Sales
you,
Enablers
Ravi,
Academy
for that,
podcast. We are very eager to briefly hear about your rich professional journey at L&T.
Yeah, as you mentioned correctly, I passed my BE Mechanical from 𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐯 Mumbai in the year 1978 and joined L&T in the same year as a graduate engineer trainee. For a year and a half, I worked in a department called Pumps and Other Equipment. We were selling pumps to chemical industries and to water supply institutions, etc. Soon after, I joined the construction and mining machinery business, where we were involved in the sales of earth-moving equipment, hydraulic excavators, backhoe loaders, vibratory compactors, etc. This business formed a major part of my career, and I worked in different locations, starting with Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Indore. Subsequently, I moved to a joint venture of L&T with John Deere. It was called L&T John Deere Private Limited, a tractor manufacturing company. I was the general manager, sales, service, product support for that organization. And I would have continued there for much longer, but for the fact that L&T decided that agriculture was not part of its strategic focus and therefore decided to divest out of that business. I then moved to a totally different business, that is L&T Infotech. So from selling tractors to farmers, I moved to trying to sell IT service to CIOs. I was initially in India, looking after India and Middle East and business. Post that, in 2007, I moved to London to look after business development in UK, France, Belgium, Luxembourg. From there, I moved to L&T Hazira in the years 2010. Hazira is one of the largest manufacturing complexes of L&T, and I was in charge of that entire facility, looking after various activities like project management, security, housekeeping, transport, liaison with the local government, CSR, and also civil and electrical projects. In 2014, I moved back to Mumbai. I had a brief stint with L&T Realty, And subsequently, I worked in our corporate HR, looking after campus recruitment and HOHR till my retirement in July 2017. Post my retirement, Ravi has already shared with you what I have been doing. And I must add that this second innings of my career is something that I find very fulfilling and satisfying.
Wow, sir, what an amazing experience. Right from pumps to construction equipment to tractor agriculture equipment to IT to facilities in one of the largest facility at Hazira, then reality, then HR, and now skill development. Amazing. Very rarely I will find a person with such a depth of experience. 39 years formally, and I think about 7 years now after retirement. So about 46 years of your tenure has been there, connecting with people, adding value in these diverse fields, diverse domains. But just I'm very curious, among various departments which you have worked, if I have to ask you, which department is very closest to you and why?
To be very honest, Ravi, I don't see any department as being closest to my heart, because wherever I worked, I feel that department was close to my heart. Though in terms of number of years, the maximum I spent was in the construction and mining business. So that is where I have the largest experience, the biggest network of colleagues, and that is where I really honed my skills to be from a sales engineer to a sales manager. So that formed a large part of my career, but I think every business was close to my heart. And therein lies one learning that I have got. That is, you have to enjoy whatever you're doing. It could be a business today, it could be facilities management tomorrow, it could be HR day after tomorrow. We have to get into it with the same degree of passion, with the same degree of passion, commitment, devotion, dedication that you would have possibly thought you will do in the field that you wanted to do in your life. So for me, all these experiences have been very valuable, very rich, very satisfying. So I wouldn't be able to name one as being closest to my heart. They are all equally close to my heart.
Well said, sir. Well said. You have now proven why you are a very likable or a favorite leader, because you always see everybody, and we used to see that also during our times when I worked with you. You always had that flair for keeping everybody comfortable and happy. No wonder many people still like you a lot. But what I want to understand from you is, having seen so much of department, geographies, business situations, business cycles, I'd like to understand from you how important is good leadership and teamwork for success in today's context, highly volatile context, disruptive context. And any example which comes to your mind where you saw exemplary leadership and teamwork which overcame a very difficult business situation.
Okay, Ravi, that's a very good and a very pertinent question. I think the qualities of leadership that were required don't change with time, according to me. There could be some nuances that one will have to focus more on in keeping with the times, with the what do you call that VUCA type of world that we are in. But there are certain essential foundational qualities of a good leader that is very important. And so to answer your question, the leadership is very important, because in any organization or any initiative, it is the leader and the team that makes the difference. So if I may elaborate a little more, I think in today's situation, how do I see it as different from what was there maybe 15 or 20 years back? The changes that have come about is, one is the rapid use of technology. Two, the rapid use of technology has actually blurred the lines between technology as a competitive advantage. So most products and services today have the same features. Where you really score is the kind of team that is delivering the service or the product, the kind of leadership. So in that context, today leadership has become very crucial, critical, because it is more competitive, it is more complex, it is a more volatile world. and it is more importantly an ever-changing world.
Well said, sir. I think well said. Leadership is very important in today's, as you said, VUCA is volatile, it is uncertain, it is competitive, and it is ambiguous, and you never know what will hit you. In the past, I could relate that the company's got time, and the manager could allow time to the employees to learn and grow and act. Like in 1991, L&T gave me training for 9 months before we were put on the field. In today's fast-paced situation, every company demands immediate result. So they want to have the result in the first month of joining, and people don't have the luxury to learn. And the leader also does not have the luxury to give time to their subordinates. So in such a situation, what do you suggest to the leaders? How do they balance? How do they walk this tightrope of developing people at the same time giving results immediately?
Okay, so I think we need to look at the current situation with the right perspective. What has changed between, say, 15 years back and now is that today there is an emphasis on quarter performance. So every quarter, the leadership has to report to the stock exchange, report to the management, report to the shareholders. So the demand on performance is happening more frequently than it was before. Maybe earlier it used to be once in 6 months or once in a year. Number two, as we talked a little while ago, that it has become more competitive and the situations are changing very fast. So rather than looking at immediate results, I think the quality that is needed is the ability to be quick on your feet, to learn to adapt to a changing situation quickly and take the necessary step to meet the challenge. What we forget is that the old adage, Rome was not built in a day, holds good today also. So results don't come overnight. Results are a result of persistent, consistent efforts which are put in over a period of time. So for leaders to expect results overnight is, I think, something that is not practical and something that is not feasible and something that is not advisable. So today's leaders have to understand that for them to get results, they need to do the groundwork, they need to build the team, they need to motivate the team, and most importantly, they need to facilitate the team. So once you do the fundamentals, then the results will start happening. That is number one, the first thing to remember. And I think because of this concept that you need results quickly and overnight, what has happened is that leaders have become follow-up machines. That means, I'm putting it in a very crude manner, but I think today's a large section of leadership, and I'm not saying all, but a large section of leadership believes that leadership is picking up the phone every day, firing your subordinate, telling him why this was not done, why that was not done, why this can't be done. But not for a moment thinking, why not I pick up the phone and ask my subordinate, what is the situation? What can I do to help you? What can the organization do to facilitate you? What can the work environment do to facilitate you succeeding in your mission? So that is where the change that is there today, which is not a positive one, is impacting the lives, the quality of talent that we are able to retain in organizations.
Well said, sir. Absolutely well said. Rome was not built on a day, and leaders should not become follow-up machines, and they should actually, inspire people, show them the way. Otherwise, what will happen? As they say, people don't leave bad companies; they leave bad bosses.
Yes.
And there is no shortcut. Even today, maybe 21st century, you have to go through the grind, create the right set of people, invest in them, and definitely results will come. Fantastic, sir. Very well said. Very well articulated. There's a dichotomy which I see in today's context. Wherever I go after my 30 years of experience in the industry, and I am consulting, I am doing training programs for major OEMs and Indian companies, about 50, 60 people. What I hear is that everybody facing a shortage of talent. Okay, everybody facing a shortage of good quality people. At the same time, we hear the noise around that there is lack of job opportunities, lack of job creation. And I really wonder how this, I would say, an irony or a dichotomy is: one end you're telling you don't have people are hungry for talent, and at the other end you said there is no job opportunities. And as a person connected with the Skill India mission and the NSDC, I would like to throw some light on what are the opportunities you see for today's professionals to contribute and grow and make a career out of them in new opportunities where they can shine and do justice to their career and also do financially well in their life.
Yeah. So, Ravi, to be very honest, this question is a little complex in the sense that it is not the question, but the answer to this question is a little complex. But I'll try to break it into smaller buckets so that we get clarity on what, according to me, is the way forward. Number one, I do agree with you that we hear everywhere there's a war for talent. There's a scramble for talent. Talent is not available. And on the other hand, we find a large number of people who are not having jobs and people questioning where are the jobs. I think the fundamental issue is that we need to really and clearly define what we mean by talent. Do we mean people who are ready to take up any opportunity, any job and deliver from day one? Or are we talking of people who have the basic criteria, the hygiene factors, and we as an organization need to build up their capabilities in line with what our organization leads by training them? If you look at the current curriculum of our engineering or diploma colleges, I mean, the curriculum is the same, but the need of every industry is different. So if you look at entry-level candidates who join organizations, say engineers, I mean, they may all be very talented as far as their subject knowledge is concerned, but they may not be capable enough to deliver what the organization wants. So number one, the organization has to invest time and money in training and development of its people in line with what its requirements are from a technology perspective, from a soft skill perspective, from an attitude perspective, and from a talent perspective. So that is what is number one. So this talent not available or we don't get good people and all is, I think, somebody crying wolf. It is that we want ready-made people who will deliver from the next day, but that doesn't happen except in the rarest of rare cases. We need to take people who have the basic qualification, who have knowledge, who have skill, and who have attitude, and then build upon their skills to develop them into what we want them to be. Number one. Number two, you mentioned about skill development, and that is a subject very close to my heart, especially over the last 6 years, having closely worked with NSDC, Sector Skill Council, training partners, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. I think what we need to do in as far as the skilling ecosystem is concerned, and when I talk of skilling, I am talking about the so-called blue-collared workforce, which is very, very necessary for the country if it has to grow in any of the fields, be it manufacture, be it agriculture, be it services. What we are seeing today is that there is a large number of skilling institutes, there are a large number of ITIs that are there to provide skills to these youth. But what is missing is the emphasis on demand-driven skilling. And when I mean demand-driven skilling, I'll give a simple example. There is an ITI which offers, among many courses, a course called Electrician and Wireman. Okay. Now, unfortunately, in that district, there are no takers for that particular course. And I'm giving a hypothetical example. The relevant examples are many, but I'm just giving a hypothetical case. Today's youth in the districts in the rural India are not very keen to migrate to far-off places to take up a job. And the reasons are not just they are scared to go or something. The reasons are economical. Because the kind of wages that they get at entry level as a workforce person will not be enough if they have to go to another city, search for a house, search for, spend money on transport, etc., etc. They would rather prefer to be somewhere near their hometown. Now, that is not going to be possible in all cases. But wherever possible, the institutes that are offering the skilling programs have to understand what is the demand in my area, what sort of a job roles are in demand, and conduct programs only for those courses. Number one. Number two, they have to fine-tune their curriculum to meet the industry needs. They have to have a close interaction with industry, understand, okay, I have a program on welding, which is a 2-year program, and this is what I cover. The industry person can always suggest to him something more, which could be added onto the curriculum so that it makes it more industry oriented. So first is the understanding demand and having the programs according to demand. Second is fine tune the curriculum of a particular trade in line with the demand that is coming. And to answer your last question about the new skills that are required, some of the skills that are now coming up in great demand, while the traditional skills like wireman, welder, electrician, fitter, the automotive mechanic and all continues to be in great demand. New areas are coming up. For example, logistics, healthcare, then your e-commerce, then your banking and financial services, because a large number of people are required for ensuring that the microfinance industry is able to work well. So these are some of the new roles that are coming up. Added to that, you have a flavor of new technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, AR, VR, which are becoming a part of all these courses, and that is something that the youth need to be adept at, familiar with, because it could be used across in all the industries. For example, a welding job today is largely getting automated. It is largely getting sensor based. So the welder, the traditional welder who used to hold the torch in his hand and weld, has to now learn and get the ability to handle a robotic welding machine also, control it. In fact, in L&T's Hazira, today quite a few of the workmen who used to do the welding are today sitting in air-conditioned cabins and monitoring and controlling the welding operation through an automated system.
Very nice, sir. Very nicely put, sir. I think fantastically put. Today, no longer the industry can say that I am going to take ready-made people. They have to understand what they want. They have to work closely with the institution, get the courses aligned or modified to suit their needs. At the same time, the institution also cannot say that we are going to teach them what we have been teaching them for 20 years. They also should very closely work with the industry, the local industry, which is more prominent there. So I think more of the leaders also should reach out to the institution. The institution should reach out to the industry. A synergy between the institution and the company could create large number of talent pool which can be readily absorbed. So wonderfully well said, sir. And I relate a quote here which they said, hire for attitude and train for skills.
Yeah.
If the attitude is right, then I think training for skill is and as last question answer you told me that there is no shortcut. To create a lasting talent pool, you have to invest in terms of training. Fantastic, sir. And as I said earlier, I always used to admire you for your wit, your apt analogy for any situation. And I still remember a quote I listened about 10 years back. You said when you go through fire, we were having some difficult situations selling backhoe loaders that time, and very jokingly you announced that day in the conference or a meeting that when you go through fire, you come out with the strength of steel and the glitter of gold. And today my confidence and the way in which I approach things all is because of that fire which we undergone that time. And I would definitely say that yes, there is a strength of steel now. The market will decide whether there is a glitter of gold. So you also like reading a lot of good books. And would you recommend any good book for the viewers which will make them better in terms of a good leader or a good team player?
So, to be very honest, I am not a very avid reader of books because there is so much that is available on the social media, on YouTube, etc. So you get in small doses, which is easy to digest, rather than get into big books, because sometimes it's become difficult to go through the reading of a book. So my recommendation will be, I think there are enough books. I think one of the authors whose books are really inspiring are the ones written by APJ Abdul Kalam. So I would recommend that to, especially to youngsters, because he talks about how we need not crawl, but we need to fly. He talks about how we can, in our dream, need to take wings, and we need to convert our aspirations into action. So he is one leader whose books I would recommend. They are very inspirational. Number one. Number two, I think there are enough of leaders around us. If you look at the country level, you have a great leader who is not only a visionary, he's a very hardworking person, he's a very decisive person, and he's a person who is able to look at the overall perspective of what this country will be, should be in 10 years, 20 years. And he is trying to fill up all the gaps at the grassroots level and at the macro level to ensure that this becomes a reality. Back closer home, we have Mr. A M Naik, a visionary leader with whom I have had the privilege of working very closely. And I see that there are qualities like having a vision, the ability to articulate the action plan, and most importantly, to have a focus on speed and scale with rigor of implementation being at its best. So what I just wanted to add one thing. I think when you with reference to your question on today's industry, today's leaders want quick results and they want you to manage within the time. I think it is very important that organizations focus on action. I think many organizations, we have got into a culture of too many meetings, too many reviews, too many PowerPoint presentations, leaving the field people with very little time to actually implement what they're talking about. I think we need to have more of action. Our meetings have to be very short and sweet. Stick to an agenda, close, drop an action plan, review the action plan, and move forward. Which is what I have learned from Mr. A M Naik, with whom I had the privilege and opportunity to work closely for the last 6 years.
Very nicely, sir. Very nicely said. And as you rightly said, the meeting should be very short. It should be action focused, and more focus should be the action rather than. I have known many such meetings where they do everything on the Excel sheet for 3 hours, and the ground connect is very less, and that doesn't work. It is like learning to swim by reading a book. You have to get into the water. The leaders should get connected to the grassroots level. You should understand what is happening in the grassroots. And as people said, you have to walk the talk. And I'm very happy that you have talked the walk actually. So, so 40 years of experience, diverse domain, diverse situation, diverse timelines. In these 40 years, you might have seen a lot of ups and downs in terms of global economy, and whatever you have given nuggets are really nuggets worth implementing. For the leaders, for the team members, for the every such person, and they should keep it very, very action oriented. So just to summarize, what are the 3 or 4 things you'd advise to the young talent who are just coming into the industry, and you having seen these 4 decades of your journey and the current ecosystem, so that they can perform and become good leaders in the organization or business?
So for the youngsters of today, my advice would be that the first and foremost thing is to have a very positive approach, a very positive attitude. I think today the social media, the other multimedia channels and all that talk a lot of negative, about negative things that are happening in the world. While there are negatives happening, there's no need for us to get deeply involved to know more about it, because there is so much of positive things happening. Be it a young laborer's son getting into Indian Military Academy, or somebody from the slums of Bombay getting into the Indian Idol, or somebody else coming from the lowest echelons of society and becoming a chartered accountant, or looking at the way tribal schools are performing, looking at the way there are revolutions happening in the field of agriculture, in the field of satellite communications, in the field of nuclear energy. There are so many positive things happening in India today. It is very important for the youngster to have a positive attitude. Number 2, an appetite and a thirst for learning that should never end. Number 3, be dedicated, committed, and enjoy what you're doing. Number 4, have a high level of integrity.
Nice, sir. Very nice. Actually, what you said is perfectly right. And this keeps ringing in my ears as to enjoy what you do. And I read a beautiful quote which said that if you enjoy what you do, you never have to work a single day in your life. Then, it's no longer a work. And they say if you love your job, love what you do, or do what you love. They say do what you love, but many people are not lucky to do what they love. But if you cannot do what you love, then love what you do. There is no point, and you spend a large amount of your life working. So why not make it enjoyable? Why not make it? And the book Ikigai, you might have definitely would have read it, where they say
Yes,
that
I've read the book. I am
the
quite
secret,
motivated by the book.
the secret for a very happy and a fulfilled life is to work till your last day, and then your life becomes very nice. Very nice, sir. Final question to you is nowadays we see very young entrepreneurs who are managing people at a young age. They have to manage a lot of people, maybe hundreds, maybe 50, maybe 200s. And they themselves are not have that, I would say that their life experiences, but but the virtue of the position they hold, they have to manage a lot of young people themselves. So what advice you give to them so that they become a good leader at the beginning?
Yeah, so this is a very valid question in today's context. I think these young entrepreneurs who have made it a success in a short period of time should remember the following. Number one, they need to understand that while they are doing well, they can always do better. Number two, every one of their team members is a valuable source of knowledge, experience, and they need to tap it. In spite of they being the owner, they need not have an owner-subordinate relationship. Rather, they should have a spirit of partnership. What Mr. Modi refers to in his talks as Jan Bhagidari. Together only we can make it happen. They need to respect age, they need to respect experience, and they need to ensure that what they want to implement is carried out by the team. But this has been done by in an environment of facilitation, in an environment of cooperation, and an environment of teamwork. It should not be top-down attitude. It should be a consensual approach to enable the team to also believe in the values, in the goals that the entrepreneur or the owner has in mind.
Well said, sir. Jan Bhagidari, they should always go with the spirit of cooperation. And it was very, very pleasurable and an honor to us sales enablers to host you. And I'm very sure these wisdom nuggets will be a guiding force for many of us. And people will not know that my first book, which was launched in 2020, you were the person who wrote the foreword for that book. And the Sales Enabler podcast, this will be the first formal episode, and you are the first to inaugurate it. And they say that Bhagwan Ram was Ek Patni, Ek Vachani, and he was with one Nyay. And you also as Ram, as we fondly call you, is one Patni, one Vachan, and one company for 39 years, and now 47 years, 45 years going strong. So Ram, you're truly living the Ram's principle. And we'll just close it this session over here. I'm very sure people would like to hear many more hours of your wisdom nuggets, but we'll keep it as a bits and pieces for people to digest, to savor and enjoy. So wish you many more, your family, you and your family, many more years of health and happiness and contribution to the Indian economy and the talent pool of this country. So thank you very much, sir, for being a part of this podcast.
Thank you very much, Ravi, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to more such interactions in the future. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.